Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Marcus Hamner. Hope you guys have an amazing, fantastic, and incredible day. Well, it didn't take long at all. During the NFL wildcard match last night, Moon Knight's trailer officially dropped, and I am beyond excited to see this series. I've been a lifelong Moon Knight fan since I was a little kid, and he was one of my favorite Marvel comic characters, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this. For those of you who may not be familiar with the Moon Knight story, it's about mercenary Mark Spector, who is possessed by the moon god Khonshu to carry out his message and becomes a vigilante known as Moon Knight, the moon god of vengeance. And of course, he has 3 different personalities that he goes by too, because Mark suffers from DID, which is dissociative identity disorder, and he goes by billionaire mogul Stephen Grant, taxi cab driver Jake Lockley, and a suit consultant known as Mr. Knight. Now, how they're going to handle the final identity for the MCU series might be a little different, but I'm sure there's going to be elements too, because as we all know from seeing all the Marvel movies, they pretty much take like all the elements from the comics from past comic book series and add it to their own elements to the MCU. But for those who are comic book readers like myself, we can pretty much know where they're coming from, so it wouldn't be that hard to dissect. But the cast is really good too, because we got Oscar Isaacs, and most of you know him from many movies, and he also played Finn's best friend Poe in the Star Wars franchise. And we also have Ethan Hawke, who plays a cult leader too, so that's gonna be pretty cool too. The cult leader's name is Arthur Hollow. So I know there's Moon Knight's road galleries. They have like many road galleries as far as like just the cult leaders who were involved and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of road galleries that we'll see in Moon Knight as well. But yeah, Oscar's going to play the main character of Mark Spector. So it's going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing it. But I got the list of Moon Knight's road galleries. So at the end of the video, I'll read them to you guys and tell you guys about all the enemies that we'll more likely will see throughout the episodes. But the series dropped March 30th. It's going to be 6 episodes like the normal Marvel TV series. So it's all going to be on Disney Plus too, though. But I got Eric Voss next to me. So what we're going to do, we're going to break down the trailers and looking at some of the Easter eggs that, we probably didn't get a chance to see, or all of us didn't get a chance to see. Go by bits and pretty much break it down and see what went down. Because I actually caught a couple of things throughout the trailer too, though. But other than that, I'm very excited about the series that my main guy is going to be in the series. But technically, he's Marvel's Batman, but more on the schizophrenic side. So it's going to be pretty cool to actually see Moon Knight in all of his glory. But without further ado, let's get into this.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of the trailer for Marvel's Moon Knight, coming to Disney Plus March 30th, with Oscar Isaac playing Stephen Grant, aka Mark Spector, aka Jake Lockley, aka Vigilante empowered with the magic of an Egyptian moon deity, aka Egyptian mutant Insibaner. Oh wait, Oscar
my man's
Isaac
going
was
extras
on
on
the
his
Marvel Universe in the
Apocalypse.
section in the MCU until Multiverse Madness, when Oscar Isaac being Moon Knight in this reality.
It's like imagine having the spirit of Apocalypse. I don't think that would be really good at all. Having Insibaner from X-Men inside you, that would be pretty messed up.
I'm gonna go through this frame by frame to break down all the really cool stuff that you might have missed. And thanks to Boxu for sponsoring this video. More on them later. Let's get started.
Yeah, of course, Mark is playing with the Rubik's Cube in the beginning of the trailer.
So I have a sleeping disorder. I can't tell the difference between my waking life and dreams.
So the trailer opens with Oscar Isaac as one of his identities lying in bed using an app that helps one stay awake because he doesn't want one of his other identities to take over. He twists a Rubik's Cube at first with just one hand, as if this
And then there's the white side in the Rubik's Cube, which represents his color too. Moon Knight's color.
Later we see the side that he is closest to completing is the white side, white being the color of Moon Knight's wardrobe, which in the 2006 Moon Knight comics from Charlie Houston explained, "I don't wear white to hide myself, I wear it so they see me coming, so they'll know who it is. Because when they see the white, it doesn't matter how good of a target I am. Their hands shake so bad they couldn't hit the moon." I just love love that quote so much. Part of the reason
Yeah, it's very Batman-like too.
Also,
So
the toggling colors of a Rubik's Cube, of course, reflect the toggling of this man's identities. He suffers from a form of dissociative identity disorder. The voice we hear right now is that of his Stephen Grant identity, with Oscar Isaac speaking in a British accent. But on the word dreams, the accent seems to switch to a different consonant pronunciation.
Between my waking life and dreams.
As if another identity is taking over.
yeah, I mean, I caught that too, especially with his language changing.
Mark Spector, the son of a rabbi turned mercenary who ends up possessed by the Egyptian moon deity of Khonshu, becoming the vigilante known as Moon Knight, with powers linked with the lunar cycle. And he takes on other alter egos like wealthy one-percenter Stephen Grant and taxi driver Lake Lockley. But obviously they're switching some things around here, because here he bolts several locks on his door. He puts tape on the cracks so that he'll know if the seal is broken, chaining his ankle to a lock that only one of his identities would know the combination to. The fact that he expects this other identity to not know how to just peel tape off of a door and put it back on tells us that the form he's worried about turning into is a more monstrous one. So we're looking at a real werewolf Jekyll and Hyde scenario here. Stephen turns in his bed, reflected in mirror glass that refracts him into 3 forms in total, perhaps a way of showing his 2 other identities, and yet he still twists around in fear as if he's looking at a 4th identity, maybe that of Moon Knight, as it creeps in on him. Let's move on.
Hello, and welcome to
Okay, here that app service.
And shout out to Kid Cudi too. He actually does the song Day and Night, which is one of my favorite songs too. So yeah, I like Cudi. He's cool.
He's now wearing different clothes than before. So who knows if this is a different Knight, or if another identity took over overnight and just changed his clothes and calmly locked himself back up. And as he stumbles out of bed, he steps in a ring of sand, which he likely spread out to track any entity going
And the sand's
out.
like pretty much like in the bottom of the bed too. So I caught that too.
Flower to track that demon. You'll notice among his stack of books is
Yeah, I'm getting
Adventures
Paranormal
of the
Activity
Soul,
vibes from that
Journeys through
too.
The physical and spiritual dimensions. This is a real life 2014 book by medium James Van Praagh.
I never read
about
Adventures
human
of the Soul
how
book.
it fits into this life, how it travels into the spirit realm. So clearly Stephen is doing some research on metaphysics to try to understand his condition and how his soul is becoming detached from his physical
have to
body.
check that book
Now,
out.
the music throughout this trailer is Kid Cudi's Day and Night, a song that Kid Cudi said that he wrote to deal with his sleeplessness after his uncle passed away, an uncle that he ended things on bad terms with. And the song Day and Night, Nightmare, is his version of the Ghetto Boys' Mind Playing Tricks on Me. The music video shows him slipping in and out of reality the way Steven/Mark/Jake
just pretty
never
similar.
fully know what's
How
real
fitting
in
that they
their
got
world. On
Cudi
the
to
next
actually
clip.
do the music soundtrack for Moon Knight. So
I'm losing it.
We'll catch you on. You're bloody useless, Stevie.
Steven.
Okay, so Stephen runs to catch this London bus. I'm assuming this connects to the shot we saw in the November teaser where his hands hit that bus, except now his hands are covered in these fancy white gloves.
he's mostly gonna change it to his Mr. Knight consultant.
Identity, as he briefly passed out for a second, could be the dressier version of that white suit that we've seen in the comics. He works at this museum. On the top it reads National Art Gallery, an art gallery with a historical exhibit for ancient Egypt, it looks like. Now, I thought this was
the
a real
museum art
London,
gallery is gonna be
but the
different
National
compared to
Gallery
the
of
one in
has a
London.
different architecture. I actually thought this was the British Museum, but if you look at the architecture of the British Museum, that is a completely different building than this. I did some digging. This is actually Budapest's Museum
Yeah,
of
Budapest.
Fine Arts. They use CGI.
I mean, they
to
actually
swap
did
out
their shots in Budapest too for the Moon Knight series too. So yeah.
Hungarian for English. We should also be clear, this is not the same museum as the Museum of Natural History, where Cersei and Dane Whitman work in Eternal.
Totally different from the Natural Museum's art history, where Cersei and Dane were at in the Eternals movie.
Finding the ebony blade of his family, taking one step closer to becoming the Black Knight, and meeting Blade Mahershala Ali could set up those two to join Moon Knight in the future as part of an MCU Midnight Suns lineup. Now,
That's what I'm actually excited about too, because the fact of the matter is that since we saw Dane about to pick up the ebony blade in the end credits of Eternals, and Blade speaking to him in the background, it's pretty much setting up to where they're going to end up meeting Moon Knight, and they're going to team up for the first time too. And then I'm a big fan of the Midnight Suns too, so there's like a lot of superhero teams who would get a chance to see the Midnight Suns, the Dark Avengers, the Young Avengers. So it's gonna be pretty cool. So it's a good time to pretty much form new teams, especially since this is Phase 4 after Phase 3 of the Avengers too. So we pretty much get to see that too. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. But yeah, Moon Knight, Black Knight, Blade, seeing those three team up together to form the Midnight Suns will be intriguing for sure. So.
Whereas comic Stephen Grant is a millionaire, this Stephen works at the museum gift shop under this allergy boss, Donna. I like how he corrects her calling him Stevie by putting on his name tag. Just another example of him having to constantly reassure
Donna,
himself of
she's
his
pretty
identity.
cute.
And in this gift shop, of course, are
She was
surrounded
flirting
by
with him
Egyptian
too, calling him
iconography,
Stevie.
a figurine of a scarab, a bust statue,
Yeah,
and these
scarab,
puzzles.
boss
One for
statue.
the Cornet Marai, that's in Necropolis in
Marai,
Luxor, and then
yeah.
another for the Book of the Dead. Oh, yes. The Egyptian Book of the Dead was a funeral text written by priests over 1,000 years. It contained magic spells in order to assist a dead person's journey through the underworld. Now that's real world history, but elsewhere in the MCU, we got another Book of the Dead called The Darkhold, which is becoming hugely important. Seen with Agatha Harkness and WandaVision taken by Wanda to seek the multiverse for her children, and now showing up in the trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, used by Doctor Strange, probably against the Scarlet Witch's wishes. Now in the comics, the Darkhold was drafted by a demon named Kafan, who in comics canon initially gave Wanda Maximoff for sorcery, but in the MCU, these two Books of the Dead could come from the same.
Yeah, so the Darkhold is going to pretty much be coinciding with the Egyptian Book of the Dead too, because the Darkhold was also in WandaVision and is going to be in Multiverse of Madness too. So chances are they're going to combine those two books in Moon Knight as well. So it's kind of a part to play in that too. So that's going to be interesting.
Between life and dreams.
Thank you.
What's the contact lens?
Hope you find it.
Thanks.
So here in his flat, Stephen hears voices and then looks over at his bathroom mirror, and his reflection flashes very briefly into his fully suited up Moon Knight form, complete with glowing eyes, and behind him you'll notice the pale glow of the moon through that fog. I just like how when this spectral form appears, the moon shows up with him. This awesome flickering light horror imagery also shows up in the far end of this hallway leading to the elevator, where we see our first clear shot of Khonshu, and he looks terrifying. Huge bird skull floating off the
Bird
shoulders,
skull.
with cobwebs dangling
It's like a
down,
beak, though.
a ratty cape, mummified arms, and he holds a staff with a crescent moon on the top. We actually caught what I think was our first glimpse of Khonshu back in the first teaser, that monstrous shadow lurking behind Stephen on the museum floor as he stifled his screams. But here, Khonshu limps down the corridor toward him, with linen wraps dragging behind him, and he grabs that elevator door with that mummified hand before turning into a sweet old woman. Don't trust her, Stephen. Stay back. Stay back. Yes, in this glue hunting theory bitchin', I am cooking on gas, and that's because I have upgraded my snack
You know,
game.
speaking of
If you're tired the
werewolves,
same old snacks,
I think eventually we'll definitely see Jack Russell, aka the werewolf, this show probably in the episodes, either going to be the first season or the second season. So more than likely we'll have a chance to see Werewolf teaming up with Moon Knight as well. But on top of that, Werewolf by Night is one of my favorite story arcs too. I'll do another video of that too, but you know, back in the 1970s, Marvel was definitely doing at least more supernatural heroes as well, especially during the 1970s too. So, you know, Moon Knight, Midnight Suns, and then we also have Werewolf by Night as well. So, yeah, they were also tapping into it. And then there's Dracula too. So, Marvel did their own version of Dracula as well. So, who knows? You might even get a chance to see Dracula in this too. So, that'd be pretty awesome too.
I mean, I gotta be honest with you guys. This whole box design is really, really cute. It would make a really nice
Valentine's too.
So if you want to get some awesome Japanese snacks for yourself, or maybe that special someone in your life, click the link in the description and use our code ROCKSTARS to get 10% off your subscription. Next clip.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're alive. What's wrong with you, Mark?
Why did you call me Mark?
Okay, once again, we see that great shot from the teaser showing Stephen reacting to his reflections in the display case glass.
And then there's shadow in the
Forward,
background
but his
too.
reflections do not
All those
follow. Even
reflections
those two reflections between the two of them
represents his
seem
identities.
slightly different reactions reaction speeds from each other? I think all three of these embody Steven's split identities. Now, the statue in that display case depicts the sun god of Ra.
Ra, the
left,
god of
he is a
sun.
fountain head.
On the right side is Anubis.
Right, Anubis, who has a jackal head, both of them appearing to mummify Osiris, the deity
Osiris.
most associated with the process of mummification. Really, the weirdest things, though, about the shot are in the foreground. First, that crocodile, perhaps a Nile crocodile that you often see in these exhibits, could also connect to that crocodile on the unknown collar screen on the flip phone. Both could be nods to Tiamat, the crocodile-headed goddess of the underworld. But also, beneath that croc, there appears to be mummified human remains on the freaking floor. And notice how Steven holds his arm as if he has been wounded or bitten. Maybe this guy was doing a bit of grave robbery, tampering with these remains, taking something off of them if Khonshu's spirit jumped out and bit him. But notice as he steps forward, the shadow that stood behind him before he steps out of frame, after he passes that shadow, it is no longer there. Now,
that's trippy, man.
The phone, repeat, as if the record
That's
is
trippy.
skipping, until Steven finally uncovers this crawl space containing this key and this flip phone, probably a phone that he heard ringing in the walls and thought he was paranoid, but it actually is a real phone and a key belonging to his other identity, Mark Spector. So the character we've been staying with this whole trailer is not really the main character of the story. We haven't really met Mark yet, which is why I love this trailer so much. I actually hope the next trailer spends most of the time with Mark, who is a badass mercenary who somehow ended up as this pencil-pushing loser in London. How long has he really been this way? Was there some previous backstory that has been erased from his memory where he initially made first contact with Khonshu back in Egypt? And the reason he is working at this museum is to try to reconnect with that spirit. Now, the caller on this phone is the voice of actress Meg Halamali, whom you may know as Rami's sister Dina on Rami on Hulu. And the closed caption identify her character name as Layla. Now, the most famous Layla from Marvel Comics is Layla Miller, aka the mutant butterfly, who has the power of resurrecting the dead at the cost of their soul. She actually makes her debut in the House of M event that we speculate Multiverse of Madness to be partly adapting. And Layla Miller
Now that's going to be intriguing, considering the fact that this Multiverse of Madness is taking place, and then Layla's going to bring it too, considering that Layla plays a part in Moon Knight, so, and then she also plays a part in the House of M too. I mean, I think there's some way to going to cross all that over too, so, but somehow, some way, the X-Men are going to show up, so it's very exciting.
Bringing down the House of M because she uses her power to restore the memories of superheroes, and she helps restore the reality. Dr. Strange even suggests that Wanda Maximoff might have created Layla as a failsafe to help the heroes in case something went wrong. Sure, this could just be like any Layla, but Meg Halamali is such a great actress.
She
really
is.
Cool to see her play a similar role in an MCU House of M event. So let's move on.
It must be very difficult. Voice in your head. There's chaos in you.
Okay, here we meet Ethan Hawke's character, a cult leader that Hawke said he based on David Koresh, leader of the branch of
David
Indians in
Koresh.
Waco, Texas. The closed captioning identifies him
Yeah,
as
then David was
Mark
gunned in the
Arrow.
head in
He's a
'93,
pretty
so
deep cut from the Moon Knight comics, who only shows
I was
up
a
in
little kid when
one
that
issue,
happened,
a storyline in
but, yeah.
1985, where Dr. Arthur Harrow was a mad scientist with a facial disfigurement who works on a way to numb the pain centers of the human body.
yeah, I got the issue. I read the issue about Arthur Harrow, so Ethan Hawke's playing the character as I mentioned earlier, so that's gonna be
Human
interesting.
experiments basing his work on Nazi experiments. Now, Ethan Hawke's version of the character seems quite different, but maybe his motive is the same. He could be a spiritual leader promising people who suffer pain to numb their pain centers. And I'm guessing all these people kneeling to him in Germany, Loki style. Now, this guy's got the good.
I was getting Loki vibes too.
Power. Now, this
I said
does
kneel!
in a cupcake delivery truck that a major sequence later takes place upon. Those colorful buildings could actually be seen in the background of the November teaser shot where Mark comes to after beating up a bunch of guards. And now, surrounding Harrow are some armed guards that might be part of his cult that suggests his cult is a militarized one. These
Looks
guys
like
wear matching jean vests and layers underneath those vests that match the color that Harrow wears. Now, in the Moon Knight comics, many of Moon Knight's foes had Nazi links since the character's Jewish upbringing was a big part of his conflicts. Maybe Harrow in this show is also rooted in those Nazi experiments, and this cult hell, could be on some old Nazi compound in Bavaria. Harrow tells Steven, "There's chaos in you," suggesting he does have some perceptive abilities and can see the demonic possession inside of Steven. And yeah, this is happening in that museum. Could it be by happenstance that they met? Or was Harrow seeking the same thing that Mark Spector, kissed by this demon, is also unconsciously seeking? Then another shot of Steven flipping out while someone talks to him in the foreground. Could be talking to himself. Like this could be taking place inside of Steven/Mark/Jake's mind palace, where the other two identities have to hang out when they're not in the driver's seat. Then this great shot on the cupcake delivery truck as it speeds down that mountain road, and Steven Mark Jake comes to, shocked at the gun in his hand in his current situation. The truck's windshield has been blown out. His face and knuckles are covered in blood, just like they were in that teaser shot. Now that box behind him reads Von D. The rest of the name cut off, and yes, I did lose
Von Dracula? Yep.
thinking this could be Victor
Or Von Doom.
But I am sorry to disappoint you. It is just the name of the cupcake distributor, which you can see
Right.
on other boxes in the back.
That's the first time I saw the Von D, I thought it was going to be Count Von Dracula, or it was going to be Von Doom, Victor Von Doom, who's Dr. Doom, of course, as we all know. So, but yeah, it's just a cupcake organization. So Von Doomson. Darrellman?
Also in the back, that dude's face looks gnarly. Either a cupcake might have smeared on his face, or he's
Cupcake smeared on his face.
It's just super violent to see this guy who might have been shot in the head about to roll out the back of the car under these two pursuing cars. You'll notice they're driven by guys wearing the same kind of outfit he is. So I guess Steven beat them all up, trying to get to Harrow, and now they're chasing him down. And I guess this will lead to Steven completely falling off a cliff, though presumably he's going to transform into Moon Knight mid-fall and manage to stick superhero landing. On to the next clip.
Also, too, Egypt has a really rich history as well, and the fact of the matter is that they mostly did most of the shots at Boba Fett too, so it's actually pretty cool. But I love Egypt, and that's one of my favorite countries because I love hieroglyphics and reading all of the hieroglyphics and everything, so I love going to art museums and going to all the other stuff too, so it's pretty cool.
I mean an actual business.
But you know, you got like 3 rich countries that I think of, like Egypt, China, Italy, so those are awesome. Embrace the chaos. Every night.
Okay, we see the Great Pyramids of Egypt, and then I'm guessing this is Mark Spector inside of a temple or a tomb. I think this could be part of a buried and semi-forgotten backstory when Mark Spector was still in that identity that Stephen Grant does not remember as his Stephen Grant identity, working as a loser in this museum gift shop. It's going to be in this museum where he reconnects with Khonshu that awakens Stephen Grant to remember that he had this whole past as a mercenary and an Indiana Jones type badass. So he thought his whole life he's been a loser, but through his dissociative identity disorder, he's going to remember how much of a killer he actually is. I love how, as we see him fleeing down this hallway, Khonshu's form trails at his feet in the form of that crescent-shaped shadow. The mirror Harrow's voice advising, embrace the chaos. And then another mirror shot as Steven throws his head back to allow Moon Knight to take over. I love this. You can see the linen wraps assemble over his shoulders, each tiny fiber piecing
I saw
together.
that too.
This looks like the bathroom that later appears busted as he beats up that creature. But we actually see a similar moment where this happens outside. It's just so cool to see how this works. Like the Moon Knight identity is mummifying his body to transport him into the land of the dead, but just for the night. And in this exterior shot,
That's a cool
some
shot.
shadowy figure is watching this happen from the lower right corner of the frame. But we end on this awesome shot. Now, we did see Moon Knight pummeling something in the November teaser, but that shot was not finished, and now we see what they added in. He's beating up some supernatural creature with freakishly long legs, huge canine feet, and pointy ears. Now, my first instinct goes to werewolf, because the MCU is soon going to introduce us to Werewolf by Night, Jack Russell, Gael Garcia Bernal, in an upcoming Halloween special, it sounds like. But I think a likelier option is,
like I said, Werewolf by Night,
jackal
so
form, as seen in The God of the Dead, Anubis. And as Moon Knight turns to camera, a few of those linen wraps stretch across his chest to hold the crescent moon sigil in place. I love how practical that all is. Actually, this shape looks like the crescent dart weapon that he uses, as we saw in that series poster that I love so much. Now, we are going to be covering Moon Knight weekly when it drops on March 30th, but until then, support new rock stars by checking out our merch options at
So here's the road galleries too that I pretty much got the list for that too. So we got let's see, we got Agony, we also got Armad, we got Arsenal. There's 2 Black Spectres, so there's Black Spectre 1, Black Spectre 2. the Boogeyman, the Committee, Ice the Human, Bora, Raul Bushman. Now, Raul Bushman actually shows up in one of the issues, too. He actually has, like, a mohawk, and he's an Indian, has, like, a face paint, too. So, we'll probably end up seeing him, I'm sure, probably in this episode, either the first season or the second season, more than likely. But he's one of Mark's main enemies, too. So, and the Ringmaster, too. So, we got the Ringmaster, the Living Pharaoh. We got Hobgoblin, Jason McIndale's version of Hobgoblin. So, it's probably going to be a little bit too soon for the Hobgoblin to show up because, you know, Ned Leeds is still on the verge of maybe becoming a super villain. Never know. Have to see, especially in future Spider-Man movies. So you never know. We got Seth the Immortal. We got Slug. And then we got White Dragon, the Night Shift, Morpheus, Morning Star, Mikaboshi, and then we also got the Midnight Nurse. So, yeah, his rogue galleries are pretty interesting. The White Dragon, Xenos, Zoran, the Great Wall, Ernest the Nazi King, the Doctor, Dead Zone, the Conquer Lord, and Dancing Macabre. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Cobra, the Jester, the Slasher, Raptor, and apparently Jeffrey Wild, who's also one of the... Jeffrey Wild, who's also the Midnight Sun. So, I don't know if he's like a singular... Actually, let me take it back. The Midnight Man is actually in one of those rogue galleries, too. So I was thinking about that, too. Yeah, the Midnight Man. So... But yeah, a lot of intriguing rogue galleries in Moon Knight's gallery too, so it's gonna be pretty interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. So yeah, like I said in the comics, Moon Knight makes an appearance in House of M as well. So yeah, it's gonna be intriguing. I'm looking forward to seeing it. But yeah, I'll even do like episode reviews once the series drops on Disney Plus. So I'll definitely do episode reviews and talk about the review overall. So, but all in all, I'm excited. I can't wait to see Moon Knight. It's gonna be incredible, and I know you guys are gonna look forward to seeing it too. So, but yeah, comment down below if you guys have any questions about Moon Knight. And let me know what you guys think about the series, what you guys thoughts about it. If you guys have any comics about Moon Knight, or if you want to know more about it, yeah, just comment down below. Let me know what you think. Yeah, just continue to subscribe, all that other stuff, and let me know what you guys think. And yeah, the next video I'm going to do, like I said, I've got more stuff coming up as far as like videos to talk about. I was going to do one on Peacemaker and Fantastic Four as well, so stay tuned to that. But in the meantime, you guys continue to stay good to each other. As Martin Luther King always says, that love always shines brighter than hate, and continue to spread love and love each other. So, and I know we had a holiday yesterday too, so with MLK. So, yeah, shout out to his family and everything. So, but yeah, in the meantime, you guys take care, spread love, one love, peace. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.